is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Sun.
Last night, former Ray James Shields shut down the Rays' offensive attack, with Chicago taking game one of the series. Tonight, a marquee pitching matchup featuring a pair of aces, Alex Cobb to the hill versus Cy Young candidate Chris Sale. It will be a comfortably cool evening on the south side of Chicago as this series between the Rays and the White Sox continues. This is game two of their four-game series from U.S. Cellular Field. Hi again, everyone. We welcome you to an evening of Rays baseball. The final road trip of the season continues tonight with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. And a dandy pitching matchup as the Rays right-hander Alex Cobb continues his return from Tommy John surgery against Chris Sale. BA, he's trying to equal his single-season win total after his 17th win tonight.
Yeah, and the one thing that I will tell you, two of the toughest competitor in this game right now are going to be taking the mound in Cobb and Chris Sale. Let's start with Alex Cobb. You know that he's going to be ready to go tonight, and you know that he's itching to get back on that mound because of his last outing against the Yankees. Didn't go as well as he would have hoped, and so you see the season numbers. That is the reason that ERA is over 6, that one outing against the Yankees. But outside of that, you can see the progress being made with the fastball. The curveball's been very good. Still looking for that changeup to come around, but you know that Alex Cobb, he's healthy. He's going to be just fine. On the other side, Chris Sale, boy, you look at his numbers overall. He is in the top 5 in the American League in wins, in ERA, in innings pitched, and strikeouts. You think about him out there on the mound, physically, 6 feet 6 inches tall. He gives you a very difficult arm angle to deal with. And oh, by the way, elite stuff. This is going to be a fun one to watch.
Well, the Rays come into this game tonight 65-91, which means there will be a battle for various spots on this club looking into the future. Behind the plate is one of them. Todd Callis will take a look at the catching situation when we return.
To start tonight in Alex Cobb's final outing of 2016, he will make his 5th start in a matter of minutes. You know, when you look at the Rays, 5 games to go after tonight, heading towards 2017, you know certain things. You know Brad Miller will be at first base, Logan Forsythe second, shortstop Matt Duffy, third base Evan Longoria. In center field, Kevin Kiermaier, Souza in right field, and then Corey Dickerson time between left field and DH. What you don't know is who's going to be the Rays catcher in 2017. As we take a look at our Toyota inside look, you can see the breakdown. Now, Casale has the most games. Most of those came in the first half when he and Hank Conger shared duties behind the plate. Then you have Bobby Wilson with 26, Luke Maile with 35 starts, and they've all had equal time pretty much here in the month of September. So we asked Kevin Cash, how does the catching position look heading into next season?
It's going to be probably a healthy competition. You know, we've had the opportunity to see some guys play, but no secret, we're looking for somebody to kind of take off and be that complete player, offensively, defensively, lead our pitching staff, and you know, there will be an open opportunity for somebody to come in and take that come spring training.
So that's one of the battles we will watch in Port Charlotte next year. But for Alex Cobb, he's looking forward to his final start of the season in less than 3.5 minutes. He'll be opposed by Chris Sale. All the action right around the corner with Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson.
We are set to play baseball tonight from Chicago. The Rays and the White Sox. Chicago winning last night's game 7-1. And it's Chris Sale and Alex Cobb scoring off tonight. The lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Logan Forsythe will lead it off, followed by Corey Dickerson and then Evan Longoria. Brad Miller is the cleanup hitter. Micah Matuk is in center field, hitting 6th and catching Kurt Casale. Alexi Ramirez at shortstop. Richie Schaefer is in right, hitting 8th. And Uriel Horikuto will be the second baseman, batting 9th.
Now this Rays lineup going up against the left-hander for the Chicago White Sox, Chris Sale, making his 31st start of the season. And how about the complete games? 6 of them so far, ERA of 3.19 to go along with that 16-9 record. 220 strikeouts, 214 and 2/3 innings of work. Another guy that's going to get a lot of mention and a lot of buzz when it comes to that Cy Young Award.
A lot of innings pitched, a lot of strikeouts, good ERA, and as you point out, in the complete game department, leading the major leagues with 6. And Logan Forsythe steps in to begin it against this lefty. First pitch of the game is a strike call. Mike Esterbrook behind the plate, calling the balls and strikes. It's fouled into the screen. It's Forsythe down 0-2.
Well, you don't have a lot of time to decide with Chris Sale on the mound, especially as the game goes on and the velocity starts to climb. But with his length and reach, seemingly, look at this arm angle. That's a tough arm angle to deal with, on top of the fact that he's got very good stuff, good movement, nothing straight.
And there is a strike call. You can see that pitch come back.
Now think about the arm angle, how far away it is from Logan Forsythe, and then he's able to bury that fastball inside, all the way across. Glove side fastball, the toughest one to consistently spot up, and he put that one in there perfectly.
So that's the way this one starts. 221 strikeouts now for Sale in 215 innings. Here's Corey Dickerson. Fouls the fastball away. And I think it's interesting the point you have already made about his velocity. He's not going to start at his top velocity. That tends to get higher as the evening progresses.
Well, you end up, he's got a track record. You don't recommend it for everybody.
Soft little one hopper. Anderson makes the play. 2 gone.
And we'll get back to that thought here in a quick second, but let's set the defense for you here for the Chicago White Sox. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. And in the outfield, left to right, we have Melky Cabrera, Leori Garcia, and Adam Eaton. And across the infield, third to first, Todd Frazier, Tim Anderson, Carlos Sanchez, and Jose Abreu, with Alex Avila behind the plate. Yeah, you don't recommend that kind of style for everybody, but he's got the track record, the resume to be able to go out there and do something like that, to be able to spot the fastball, know when he needs to pick the pace up a little bit. But that's what allows him to buy himself some time in the early innings and to get deep into ball games, to get those 8-inning, outings, the 6 complete game.
2-0 the count. Well, he's looking for length. Interesting. I saw an article the other day citing how the contending teams are getting innings and deep starts out of their starting pitchers.
Well, that's the tried and true formula. You run out enough starters that have the ability to get you deep into games. You then limit the number of outs your bullpen has to get. You keep your bullpen fresh throughout the course of a season. It all adds up. It's a cumulative effect. It's not in a vacuum. It's not one game at a time. It's not one snapshot in time. It's a 6-month marathon, and it all works together. And if your starters can give you quality innings, deep innings, it is going to make the whole team that much better.
Yeah, the Blue Jays have been that way. The Cubs, the Nationals, the Giants. There's a fly ball into short right. Eaton is there, and he makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down, go the Rays. An 11-pitch first. Bottom of the inning coming, no score. White Sox coming in to hit. We'll take a look at the starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Adam Eaton's in there atop the lineup for Chicago tonight. Tim Anderson, Melky Cabrera, Jose Abreu at first inning cleanup in front of Justin Morneau. Todd Frazier's at third. Alex Avila will do the catching. Carlos Sanchez, the second baseman, hits eighth. And Luis Garcia is in center field batting ninth. Up the left side toward the corner with some carry. That is a fair ball. Dickerson into the corner after it, and it's going to be a double for Eaton. First pitch, and Eaton finds himself at second base with the double.
Well, another high energy guy, not in the lineup last night, so he's looking to get involved right away. And he takes that first pitch fastball. I thought that thing was going to slice and get into foul territory, but you can see right there, 1.5 feet or so into fair, and the White Sox instant opportunity.
Eaton not in the lineup since the 23rd of this month, when he had a collision with the outfield wall. It's Tim Anderson. Pitch is a strike. Well, Cobb struggled in his outing against the Yankees, and they jumped on him quickly. Eaton didn't waste any time going after the first pitch tonight for the double.
When you look at Alex Cobb, his career numbers with the Rays, his batting average against him with 2 strikes is 154. And even in the small sample size this year, it's 147. So that's why you see teams, you know, out there, first hittable pitch, let's go get him, because getting to 2 strikes and then it becomes very difficult.
Wave and a miss. 1-2.
That's that curveball that really came on for Alex Cobb in the start up in Toronto against the Blue Jays 2 starts ago. Became a real weapon where he could do this. He could get the swings and misses, and Tim Anderson missed that one by plenty. A lot of depth, tightly spun.
There's a liner into right center field off the fastball. Eaton heads to the plate. He will score. Ball loose on the infield on the throw back in, but Anderson remains at first with an RBI single.
Well, you follow up the really good curveball with a fastball that is up and out over. That ball right down the middle. It stayed flat. You can see the disappointment in Alex Cobb. He knew that he made a mistake there, and Anderson takes him out to right field, and the White Sox take a quick lead.
Now it's Melky Cabrera. Fastball up, taken for a ball. Cabrera had a double his first time up last night through a walk later in the game. The ball loose on the throw to first. Anderson a little shaken getting back into the bag.
Yeah, that ball hit him. I think that's why it got loose at that angle. Brad Miller, I don't know if it went off his glove or he just whiffed it. You see right there, it gets by the glove and hits Tim Anderson right in the back of the rib cage. Oh, man. Yeah, he just whiffed it.
So the White Sox will take a look at Anderson. Hit by that pickoff attempt.
Well, he's tended to. Let's quickly set the Rays defense for you. Brought to you by Golden Diamond Source. And in the outfield, left to right, we've got Dickerson, Matuk, and Schaefer. And across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Ramirez, Karakudo, and Miller. And Kirk Casale behind the plate. I need one of those every once in a while. Needed one of those last night. I think about the 5th inning.
Yeah, at various times throughout the evening.
I went over to that 7-Eleven near the team hotel to see if they had them.
Yeah.
They didn't have those. They had a lot of other stuff I didn't expect.
It's a wide variety of things available in that vicinity.
Some of it was even legal.
Well, let's see. Trying to convince him that he's okay to stay in the game. Darryl Boston, the first base coach, gives him a little encouragement. White Sox have taken a 1-0 lead. 1-0 the count on Melky Cabrera. Two and 0 the count. But we'll see how chipper Anderson is over there as he takes his lead. And the pitch lifted down the left side. That's a foul ball. It will be about 3 or 4 rows out of play. 2-1.
Well, that's one way to get back at somebody. Firing one into your rib cage. Although not completely Alex Cobb's fault. You know, he's throwing that ball down and out in front of first base, and Brad Miller just couldn't come up with it.
And again over there, you had to wonder what Anderson was thinking as he went diving back into the bag that time.
Please catch it.
Shot deep into right. Schaefer will turn and watch that one get out of here. Cabrera turns on the 2-1 pitch. A double, single, and home run to start this one. And it's 3-0. Well, this disconcerting for Alex Cobb on the heels of the outing he had against the Yankees.
Yeah, what you want more than anything else after an outing like that is a quick start. And that has not happened. That fastball middle in, but you see Melky Cabrera able to turn and burn, get the hands through, clear the hips, and that ball sailing out of here.
His 14th home run of the year. Jose Abreu. The pitch is a strike. The ground ball picked there by Curacudo on the shortstop side of the bag to throw out Abreu.
50 little play, showing off the arm just a little bit. Curacudo at second base. I like the arm sleeve too. Blue camo.
Color coordinated.
Yeah.
Is that a non sequitur? A color coordinated piece of camo.
Ah, well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're not supposed to.
Yeah, it's a fashion statement. Camo, really? You're wearing it so that it matches to be seen? You're not supposed to see camo.
I can't believe he can play second base with one arm.
1-1. This one down. Well, it's at least an oxymoron.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
But the Rays got the first out, and that's what counts.
We'll take it.
No. Morneau up there. The count of 3-1. DH. Foul beyond the third base coaching box. Joe McEwen down there.
That was the separator right there.
Yep.
They had a 3-1 lead, but when Morneau popped that one out of here, all of a sudden 5-1, and that pretty much put the game out of reach.
Yeah, that came in the 7th, and then Sanchez hit a homer in the 8th. There's ball 4. Well, the Rays now have this trend in the last 3 games where the opposing team has scored in the first inning. And it's a 3-run first tonight for the White Sox. They scored a run last night in the first. And now it's Todd Frazier. Buick GMC big matchup. Frazier has a strong finish going, a 10-game hitting streak. And 6th in the league in home runs. He's after 40. Fly ball, center field. Mikey Matuk on the run to make the catch. That'll be the 2nd out. Morneau back to first.
Yeah, and Mikey Matuk had to get on his horse out there in center, shaded a little bit the other way, and then that ball had some action to it, a little bit of slice moving away from him. And this is an outfield where you've got to have some guys that cover some ground. You see where Matuk starts out, and the action on that fly ball, taking him right over to the gap in right center. And then right to the cheat sheet. I'm telling you, I would go with the wristband. I mean, I get it. He doesn't like anything on the wrist, but it would be fun, Dwayne, and it would draw attention to yourself. And isn't that the whole point?
It would seem at times that might be the point of the entire society. Here's Alex Avila with
let's
a
just
foul
have
ball
a forum,
back.
a forum where we just, you know, kind of wax poetic on how we feel about a lot of things. Meanwhile, mixing in some baseball here and there.
Yeah, we could wax poetic and maybe.
Want to do that on Sunday?
Yeah,
just ride off into the sunset.
Let's do it Sunday. Yeah. Okay. We'll be in Texas. You can ride off into the sunset there a lot easier.
I'm staying with you at your compound.
Okay. The 0-1 pitch is down. 1-1. Anderson with an RBI single. Cabrera with the 2-run home run. 2 outs, a man at first. 1-1 to Alex Avila. It's down. 2-1. 21 pitches for Alex here in the first. And now 3-1. Second straight difficult start for Alex Cobb. Ground ball down to first. Miller steps on the bag to retire the side. 3-run score, a man left. 3-0 at the end of 1, Chicago. Lead. Rays are facing Chris Sale tonight. Toyota keys to success, and there is a list of the success story of Chris Sale this year. Tied for 5th in the league in wins, and impressive numbers right down the line.
Yeah, all the meaningful categories. Innings, more strikeouts than innings pitched. Opponent's average. The CG really jumps out at you. 16 wins. How about this, Dwayne? And I found this extraordinary, really. He's had 12 starts since the All-Star break, and he's 2-6. 2-6. The team is 3-9 in his 12 starts. All that, despite the fact that his ERA after the All-Star break is 2.91. It's a half a run lower than it was in the first half of the season. Under 3. The run support for him on his nights has gone way down.
Oh, what a stop by Frazier, and the throw to first in time. Outstanding play by Todd Frazier down at third to rob Miller of a potential hit.
That's what he did, is he robbed him. Brad Miller's swing tells you he's just trying to slap the ball that way. And look at that, short hop backhand, Todd Frazier. Pretty.
Mikey Matuk hitting 188. He had 2 hits last night. All no strikes. It's 1-1. Two balls and a strike. Two. 27-year-old left-hander, born in Lakeland. Fastball up to run the count full.
Hard to believe that he's just 27. For as long as he's been productive and been around, you're thinking minimum 30. Just 27 years old. I'll tell you what, a lot of innings, a lot of mileage in that arm.
Yeah, his high watermark in wins came back in 2012. He was 17-8 that year, 16-9 right now. Coming off last year when he made 31 starts. This is his 31st of the season here this year, and he was 13-11 a year ago. 73 and 49 in his career. Base hit through the hole. Matuk is aboard. The Rays have their first hit and their first base runner.
Chris Sale, he will pitch on both sides of the plate, so you've got to be able to cover both, and Mikey Matuk does a nice job there. 2 strikes, get that ball, hit it hard enough, find a hole. Need some more of that.
Well, Kurt Casale hitting 169, pitch down and in. Well, one of the problems for the Rays last night is they grounded into 4 double plays. It's the highest mark for the Rays since May of 2015. They had a 4 double play game against Seattle. And last night, 3 5-4 threes and another double play, 4 here last night against the White Sox. Casale ahead in the count. It's a ground ball, fair. Up the left field line. Headed to third, Montook. Casale's going to dig for second. A good throw might get him. Oh, he got in there away from the throw and the tag. And the Rays will have men at second and third. It appeared for a moment Casale was running into trouble at second base.
Well, this is where it comes down to you've got to apply the tag. The chopper by Casale, a fair ball, and now the play is going to be made. Cabrera gets the ball there in time. There's no doubt about it. But watch the evasive action taken by Curt Casale, and he's able to get wide of that tag, maintain contact with the bag.
Sanchez trying to sell it. The White Sox still undecided as to whether they'd like another look at that one.
He's got the ball now. See, look at Casale going wide. All the while within an arm's length of the bag.
So he maneuvers his way into his 9th double of the year. Second and third, one out.
That's a nifty little slide there by Casale to get in. Not easy. Probably should have been out.
It's Alexei Ramirez. First pitch strike. Two men in scoring position. Rays down by 3. We're in the top of the second inning. That's going to be a base hit. Stroked the other way inside the right field line. Montook scores. Casale heads to the plate. He will score. The throw by Eaton came back to first, trying to throw behind Ramirez, but he gets back in. And the Rays just that quickly make it a 1-run game.
And Curt Casale ran right through the stop sign. Right through Charlie Montoya's stop sign. Ends up working out. A little off-speed pitch there. Look at the plate coverage by Alexei Ramirez. Drops it up the line. Adam Eaton making that hard throw. Almost ended up getting Alexei at first, and I think that throw was meant to go towards home plate. It's a nice answer.
First pitch taken by Richie Schaefer for a strike. So a couple of runs batted in for Ramirez. 45 and 46 on the year. Fouled right back. 2. A 1-out rally, the out recorded on an outstanding play by Frazier. Down at third to Rob Miller. The Rays have followed that with 3 consecutive hits. 2 runs, Ramirez at first. There's a base hit that gets through the hole out of the reach of Anderson. And so the Rays have put together 4 consecutive hits. Schaefer has 1.
Well, you've not seen the crispness of the stuff. And Dwayne, you talked about, early on, we talked about Chris Sale kind of saving some a little bit, and that fastball is not going to come out there and be ramped up right away. Well, it's cost him so far here tonight. The stuff has not been crisp. The velocity has not been there, and the Rays are taking full advantage.
He'd had a little problem in the first inning. His earned run average 420 in the first. He got through that okay, but the Rays picking up 2 runs and 4 hits so far in the second inning. Iracudo just got a little piece of that one for a strike. Switch hitting infielder playing second base tonight. Stairs, it's 1-1. reaches the corner. 1-2. Bit of that one to stay alive on the foul ball. Well, curious this game sometimes when you look at what's happened so far in this game. Sale getting Forsythe, Dickerson, who's been hot, and Longoria. 1, 2, 3 in the first. He got Miller to lead off this inning. And then Montauk, who is hitting under 200. Casale hitting under 200, a couple of big hits. Ramirez drove into, he was hitting 234. And Schaefer at 167 as a base hit. Karakudo, who's still looking for his first hit, is 2-2 now.
It really is why you play. You know, you look at the lineup beforehand. Chris Sale, you know, he's still alive for a Cy Young. Maybe not after this inning, but you know, what's it going to be like? Just continue to swing the bats well.
Popped up. Anderson out there. So is Sanchez in front of Garcia. The second baseman Sanchez makes the catch in center field. So that stops the streak of 4 consecutive hits. Sale in his career only twice had allowed 5 straight hits. And that both came in the same year in 2014.
Yeah, that's the year that he ended up second in the American League in ERA with 2.17. So that doesn't even make any sense. In fact, that was the year that he was second in ERA, and Alex Cobb was 6th. 2.87.
.270 for Logan Forsythe after the 0-for-1 tonight. Hitting again in the second inning and down 0-2. Braves have cut their deficit to 1 run. Now down 3-2. Bounds it back. See another 2-strike pitch from the lefty Sale. Forsythe 1 hit against Sale. Now 1 of 8 that hit a home run. Runners take off. This one lined just foul up the left field line. Well, the Rays had the runners on the move, and Forsythe just pulled it foul outside the left field line.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that you know, the game's going to be tied there. Rays could have had a lead. You already see right there where Alexi Ramirez is that ball just hooking foul. Well, against a guy like Chris Sale, you're going to have to take some chances, put some guys in motion, try to make things happen.
Cut and a miss. Forsythe out on strikes. Rays come back with 2 runs on 4 hits. They trail 3-2. Second inning coming up. Don't miss tomorrow's Wednesday showdown presented by Mazda. Rays taking on the White Sox. Our coverage will begin at 7:30. Blake Snell will get the start for the Rays. Miguel Gonzalez on the hill for the White Sox. Blake will be after his 7th win of the year. The rookie left-hander. Carlos Sanchez. This pitch is a strike from Alex Cobb. Alex had a 23-pitch first inning and was touched for 3 runs. A home run by Melky Cabrera accounting for 2 of those. Two. Sanchez out on strikes. Missing the fastball. First strikeout for Alex Cobb. Fastball up. Got him to chase it a bit. Leori Gonzalez, or Leori Garcia, the hitter now, the center fielder. He had a base hit and a run scored last night. Garcia takes it upstairs. Lines it into center, and a problem out there for Montook, and that ball's going to go all the way to the wall. Garcia on his way to third. They're going to stop him there. And Montook had all kinds of trouble with that one in center field, and that has been a trend here the last couple nights.
You know, we talked last night what the Rays outfield, what they were going to be able to do. Big outfield. And you've got not the regular guys out there. This is a tough read. We're right there, that little indecision before Montook comes in. And then when you make that dive right there, you've got to know that you're going to come up with it, because this is the downside. It gets by you. You have no help, and it becomes a track meet. That ball missed by about a foot or so.
Now a man at third with the infield up, and the pitch to Eaton is a strike. Well, Garcia gets a triple out of that. That's a tough triple to take if you're on the hill.
You wonder if that ball had some action, you know, coming out there, knuckling action. You could see Mikey Montook kind of bend down, trying to get a read on it.
And this one through the middle, past Cobb and into center, a base hit. And the White Sox turn it into a run to make it 4-2.
The White Sox here tonight have struck quickly. I mean, a triple out of nowhere, and then here a couple pitches later, Adam Eaton waits on a curveball, and you can see him get it under the glove of Alex Cobb. He had a chance at it, just couldn't come up with it.
With that triple awarded to Gonzalez in the first 4 hits of the game for the White Sox as a team, they've hit for the cycle. They had a double, single, and homer in the first, and a triple in the second inning. Now they have 5 hits. There's a strike to Anderson. One. Top 3 hitters already. 4 for 4 in this game for the White Sox, with 4 runs batted in. Runner goes. Pitch is a strike. The throw will not be in time. A stolen base for Eaton, his 13th of the year, and the White Sox are not letting up.
No, I think they get the feeling, as we are up here, that this could be a shootout. We guys are swinging the bats. And Curt Casali, as quickly as he can get out of there with the throw, but the jump by Eaton just too much to overcome. Chews that gum as quick as he runs to second base.
Singled off the fastball his first time up to drive in a run. Shoots it up the right side toward the corner. Eaton on his way to the plate. Anderson on his way to second. And the White Sox continue to swing the bats and swing them well. 5-2.
Breaking ball stays up right there, and Tim Anderson inside out. See him let that ball get into the zone, just that little hesitation and pause, and then fires on it, gets it down into the corner. And boy, they're hurting Alex Cobb about every way you possibly can.
Anderson 2 for 2, picking up his 20th double of the year. And Melky Cabrera, who hit the home run in the first inning, bats again in the second inning with a man at second and only one out. The strike. Cobb pitched an inning and a third Wednesday against the Yankees. Gave up 7 runs and 9 hits. He has an inning and a third under his belt right now and has been touched for 5 runs on 6 hits. Into left. That ball will be caught. Dickerson had to reach up and grab that line drive. 2 gone.
Almost, charging, trying to make a play for his pitcher, and Corey Dickerson almost got a little bit too tight here. Coming in, and then whoa, put the brakes on. Reach back and make a catch right there for the second out.
Jose Abreu. Ball, no strikes. Abreu jam pops it up. Miller in foul territory there to make the catch. White Sox out in the second, and they built a 5-2 lead. The third inning. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Corey Dickerson leading off, taking the pitch inside. Peculiarity in this one through 2 innings. The Rays down 5-2. Cobb has given up 5 runs, 6 hits. And Chris Sale has made more pitches through the first 2 than Alex Cobb. Now he's behind 2-0 here to Dickerson. 40 pitches through 2 for Sale, 39 through 2 for Cobb. And the big cut and the miss makes it 2-1 to Dickerson. Actually, the other way around, a ball, 2 strikes. He's behind in the count. Now 2-2. Longoria next, followed by Miller. Little broken bat looper. That's going to drop in there for a base hit. And Dickerson is aboard. So a lot of these batted balls falling in. And Dickerson has his first hit of the night.
Yeah, first of all, the first thought was, why is he even swinging at this pitch? That ball looked like a breaking ball, like the previous one that was going to be in off the plate. But he does go after it. You can see Avila diving almost across the plate to try to catch that thing. And instead, it's soft served out into right field. And now it's the Rays' turn.
This is Evan Longoria at the plate. He shoots it foul.
Yeah, these pitchers here tonight, right now, not fooling anybody.
The count on Evan. Took foul right back. 0-2. Yes, so far this seems to be one of those nights where the forces of nature are conspiring against the pitchers, and the hitters are just having their way with things. Evan behind, 2 strikes. Pops it into shallow right. Eaton makes the catch. It's the first out.
You know, Evan Longoria in a little bit of a slump right now, having a difficult time at the plate over the last few games. And Dwayne, what do we say? One of the things that shows up first when he starts to go into a little bit of slump or has a time where he's struggling, the soft fly ball to right field. 2 of them so far here tonight. That's when he starts to expand the zone. Think about the second pitch of that at bat that he swung at. You know, ball out of the zone, way down.
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing now. And when Evan starts to expand that zone, get those soft little fly balls into right field. He hasn't done it very often.
I was going to say that's one of the things he's avoided doing much at all this year, and you can see the production as a result of that.
And you wonder a couple things. Hey, you're not in the mind of Evan at all. But, you know, this little stretch has gone the last few games. So you're talking 8-9 games left in the season, sitting at 36 home runs. Are you trying to get to 40? Cognitively thinking about that. And that's when all of a sudden you get out of what got you to 36 in the first place. Being a little bit too aggressive, expanding that zone a little bit too much.
Tap down to third. Frazier with the pickup and the throw. And a nice play. He's made a couple of good plays against Brad Miller. First one back in the second inning when he backhanded that ball. This one coming in on it at third.
A little tap right there, and then you've got to realize, okay, forget the glove. Do you see how his eyes stayed on his hand? He, like, we talk about watching the ball into the glove. He watched the ball into his bare hand, make sure they had a good grip on it, and then made the throw. That was a very nice play.
Mikey Matuk. Ball, no strikes. One.
Here's that bare hand. Watch his eyes stay on the hand a split second longer. Right there, right there. Make sure you got it now. Yes, that head starts to come up a little too soon, and now you're fumbling around with the fingertips. But he kept those eyes down there just a split second longer to make sure that he had a hold of that ball.
This puts Matuk behind 1-2. Fly ball lifted back into left center field. That's Garcia on the run over from center field to gather it in. Ray's going to lead off base hit, leave a man on, and trail 5-2.
As the Rays trail 5-2 heading to the bottom half of the third inning, he is watching Alex Cobb make his 5th and final start of the season. The Rays have gone to a 6-man rotation for the month of September. The 7th starter, if you will, has been Chase Whitley. They've been using him every 5 days lately, and guys, today he'll be available behind his Tommy John surgery rehab partner, Alex Cobb. Whitley originally was behind Matt Andreessen last outing after Blake Snell. Tonight after Cobb, he's on every 5 days, so he should be available for one final appearance on the last day of the season after tonight. Back to you.
And on to the bottom of the third we go. Justin Morneau takes a big cut, fouls the fastball right back into the screen. Alex Cobb trying to settle into this game. It's been a tough start for him, a tough beginning here in his 5th start. And he has Morneau out in front, 0-2. Ball, 2 strikes. trouble with location for Cobb in the early part of this game, and the White Sox have taken advantage of it. 2-2. 5 runs, 6 hits, walk and a strikeout for Cobb. Fouls this one. Second game of 3. Blake Snell pitches tomorrow. Archer on Thursday. Chop to the right side. Ramirez over there from shortstop, patrolling the right side of the infield out of the shift. So Alexi makes that play to get Morneau. One away for Todd Frazier. Frazier with his hitting streak, 10-gamer and 39 home runs, a franchise record for the White Sox for a third baseman. Takes a strike. Front, 0-2.
Really good curveball there by Alex Cobb, and we've seen that curveball's been sharp here tonight for the most part. Had a couple that he's left up in the zone that have hurt him, but boy, when he's able to rip it like that, that's when you get the swings and misses.
Pitch a little wide. 1-2. Runs even. Oh, strike 3 call on the inside part of the plate. Frazier not happy with the call by Mike Estabrook.
There it is, that run in kind of crowds Todd Frazier, and he's assuming and not at all in agreement. And not afraid to let him know.
Two up, 2 down in the third. Avila pitches down. The ball, it's 2-0. Out a strikeout. 2 up, 2 down. Now 2-1 to count to Avila.
Come back, 2-seamer. You think about Alex Cobb and that fastball, it gets more run than sink. It will get sink when it's way down in the zone. But that little run can be so beneficial. Started in off the plate, take it to the inside corner. Boy, nice change up there. That's the good one.
Well, we're starting to see some pitches for him here in the third.
Yeah, and Todd, reporting that this is his last start of the season because of the 6-man rotation. That, you know, it wasn't a very good beginning, but finished strong, and things are starting to come around here for Alex.
Three and two. Wheeler grounded out to Miller in the first inning. Fouls it the other way. So we'll see another pitch here. Ball 4. Second walk given up by Cobb. The number 8 hitter, the second baseman, Carlos Sanchez, who struck out his first time. Cobb got ahead of him and then struck him out on a fastball up, got him to chase. Is a strike. One. Cobb was just over 50 pitches in his last outing against the Yankees. This one will be his 60th pitch of the night coming. And it's lined toward the corner, all the way back to the wall. Avila hits third. They're going to stop him there. It's a double. And with 2 outs, another threat by Chicago, putting him in at second and third.
Well, after 2 quick outs, it was the walk. The walk to Avila extends the inning. And then that breaking ball, recognized by Sanchez as it drops down and in. He just waits on it and then turns on it. And now the White Sox have a chance to add to their lead.
Three runs in the first, 2 runs in the second. And a threat with 2 outs in the third. Ball, no strikes. Yuri Garcia, who picked up a triple on a ball that Mikey Montauk had a lot of trouble with. A liner to center right at him, and it got by him for 3 bases. You can make a good argument for that ball being caught. And you don't know how the second inning would have turned out then, but it would have been the second out with nobody on. And eventually led to 2 more runs. And now a threat with Garcia at the plate. 2 men on, both in scoring position, with 2 outs in the third. The 2-0 upstairs. You can see Cobb showing some frustration with himself out there on the mound now. That's one of the things he said. He thought he let that first inning against New York creep into the second inning in his last outing. And he's not happy with the way things have gone tonight, especially here in the third, getting 2 quick outs, then the walk, followed by the double. He's 3-1 with the number 9 hitter. High fly ball back into center. Montauk still going, and that ball is gone. Garcia lifts one out of here. That one into left center. And with 2 outs, 3 runs have scored. 8 runs tonight for the White Sox. It's 8-2.
You know, that you knew that he hit the ball well. I mean, he made solid contact. There's no question about it. But I thought the simple fact that not a power guy, and that ball was hit so high, you're like, it's just going to run out of steam as it gets deep out there into left center field. And then you watch Mikey Matuk, and he just never stops running. And you're like, you're kidding me. And that ball drops in the first, second row. And what a turn of events here. Just as Alex was putting some things together.
Yep.
Walk, double, homer, and it goes from bad to worse.
It's only the 2nd career home run for Garcia. His first came in 2014. Two and 0. This one skied to center field. Matuk back. He's at the wall and makes the catch in front of the wall to haul this one in. 3rd innings is over, but a 3-run frame for the White Sox, and it's 8-2 Chicago. The 4th inning, Alex Cobb and Jim Hickey in the Rays dugout. With the Rays double play season tickets, fans can receive the lowest price and choose from one of several can't buy big league experiences, including a chartered flight to Miami to see the Rays play, or a catered suite to a 2017 Rays game. Heard a double play today called 888 Fan Rays. There's a long one off the bat of Kurt Casale, and that ball's going to get out of here on the first pitch delivered in the 4th inning by Chris Sale. Kurt Casale sails it out of here. He is 2 for 2 with a double. That home run is 8th of the year. 8-3 now.
Now they've had some pretty good swings off of Chris Sale. And here's another one, just middle away. Kurt Casale, strong, able to get his arms extended. And how does that guy in the white, red, and blue hat miss that? Did you see that? That ball hit right behind him, and
he lost out. Ground ball 3rd. Frazier. So Ramirez, who had single home a couple runs in the second out here in the fourth.
Here it is, Dwayne, right here. The gentleman right there in the white hat. I'll even make it smaller. Watch him. I don't know what he's thinking, looking at. Yay! Eyes forward, my man. That's why. Tweeting. It's twittering.
It's dangerous even when you're sitting in the outfield. Now Schaefer sends one into right center field. Diving attempt. That gets by Garcia, backed up by Eaton, and into second goes Schaefer with a double. Well, the ball is flying all over the ballpark, including in the direction of that gentleman there. But he's still unaware.
Yeah, still hasn't learned his lesson. I mean, come up for air. Good thing you came to the ball game to play with your phone. Oh my gosh.
The first pitch, Kurakudo is in there, strike. Juliel Kurakudo. 0 for 5 in his major league career. Down 0-2 in the count this time to Chris Sale. Runs, 7 hits for the Rays. 8 runs, 8 hits for Chicago. Ball, 2 strikes. Well, Casale hitting the home run, the 25th allowed by Chris Sale. That's a career high home run total given up by Sale. And he picks up the strikeout right there. Second out. Meanwhile,
that's pretty remarkable. You almost get domed, and you just go right back to typing.
Well, what are the odds? It won't happen again, not in the same spot.
Maybe he
probably feels safer now than ever before.
Yeah, see, I think he's knee deep in like Candy Crush, game of Candy Crush. Now he's brought out the stylus. Still doesn't give a rat's about the game.
There's strike 2, but a tough night already for Forsythe. A couple of strikeouts, and he's down 0-2.
I mean, it's 8-3, guy. 8-3. There's a lot of action happening out in front of you and a little behind you.
Yep. Well, he's probably getting a lot of notifications from his buddies who are watching somewhere. They just saw him. Ground ball third, and a nice pickup by Frazier. Sharply hit, and Frazier makes the play. Rays settled for the 1 run on the homer by Kurt Casale. They leave a man in scoring position. We got to the bottom of the 4th inning, and the White Sox lead this game 8-3. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram, and by Toyota. Let's go places. Well, Alex Cobb calls it an evening here. 68 pitches for Alex, 3 innings. And not pleased with his last couple outings.
Yeah, it's going to be a process. I think Alex, especially the way that he got started off, after his first 3 outings, looking for bigger and better things the last couple, and it has not happened. It's been frustrating. There's no doubt about it. But the one thing you know about him is he is a grinder. He's going to work hard, and you just need time. You don't step back on the field after almost 2 years, later after Tommy John surgery, and just pitch like you've never missed a beat. I mean, there's definitely a process.
Well, as frequent as Tommy John surgery has become, it's still equally difficult, the process back. You see it happen a lot more. And it has become, I hesitate to say the word easier because, as you well know, there's nothing easy about it. But from the time that Tommy John first underwent that, just really at that point to be able to use his arm and comb his hair, and it turned out that he came back and pitched. So there have been advances that way, but it's still very difficult. And what we're seeing here is how difficult it can be. The road back. There's a strike, and Anderson is out on strike. Steve Geltz gets him.
Well, you've got all that time of doing just the most mundane exercises and building up to the point that you can play catch. And then you play catch a little bit further, and then a little bit further. Then you get off a mound for some dry throws, and then you may be allowed to throw 10 fastballs or 15 fastballs. And that whole process in building up to be ready to pitch in a game. But even so, big league level, the amount of adrenaline and effort that goes into pitching here, and then now you've got to get yourself back into the routine of every 5 or 6 days. And it's just not easy, and it doesn't come that quickly. You can have a rehab assignment where you're going to throw a couple of innings and 30 pitches, okay, but these games where they turn you loose now, and you're on a regular turn, it's not that easy. It will be really interesting to see Alex in spring training, and you'll start to see him look more and more like the Alex of old and hit the ground running at the beginning of next year. Most important thing is getting these outings this year. I think this was really important, if for no other reason than to show him that he can give that kind of effort at this level and he's healthy.
A 2-strike count on Cabrera. Anderson out on strikes. Cabrera behind in the count. Abreu on deck. And a big cut and a miss. Cabrera out number 2. So back-to-back strikeouts here for Steve Geltz.
Well, off-speed pitch and just missed by Melky Cabrera out over the plate. One looking, one swinging. Our guy was still working on that phone.
There's Abreu. Which is a strike. A 1-1 count. Two and one. 2-2. Geltz pitched against the Yankees in the Wednesday game at Tropicana Field, an inning and 2/3 in relief of Cobb. The last time Alex pitched, ground ball handled by Longoria, and it's a 1-2-3 fourth inning. We'll head to the fifth. 8-3 Chicago. All offseason, the Rays will be posting new auctions. Bid on game used equipment and autographed items at raysbaseball.com/auctions. Make sure to check the site regularly so you don't miss any of the action. All proceeds benefit the Rays Baseball Foundation. Corey Dickerson, and that one hits him. So Dickerson will head to first. He was a little upset when he was hit by a pitch in the third inning by Shields last night, and hit by a pitch here in the fifth inning of this game.
That's a leadoff base runner, and that's what the Rays need, down by 5. But Chris Sale not as sharp as we've seen him, and that just catches the jersey. Dickerson not real happy again with the bat flip. At least no bruise this time.
Here's Evan. He's out after that one. Strike one. Fly ball, right field. Eaton after this one, and another fly ball to short right.
And reaching. That's the key. That's the third time now tonight that Evan Longoria is swinging at everything. Now watch, see where the catcher set up Avila. That ball's out there, reaching. Not able to dive and drive, but just kind of reaching. And that's what you get. You get the soft fly ball to right field. We've seen it 3 times here.
And Evan not happy with himself.
No, the good thing is that he has shown the ability this season, especially this season, that when he has got into these little ruts, he's been able to get out of them quickly. They have not lingered for a long period of time, and that's why he's been so productive and so consistent.
Well, it has been a struggle for Longoria against Sale. 0 for 3 tonight and 1 for 21 in his career against him.
I mean, what a funny game. 1 for 21 in his career, and already Richie Schaefer has more hits against him than Longoria does. Kurt Casale,
yeah,
just in tonight's game.
Yeah, how about that?
That's such a goofy game sometimes.
That's a strike at the knees, and Brad Miller called out on strikes. Pitch on the corner.
Did you see the number? That fastball at 95, and this is when Chris Sale starting to pick it up a little bit. That looked like 95 even in slow-mo. Or Fox-mo, or whatever we're calling it.
Foxmo would be good. I like that.
Well, yeah.
Ground ball third, and a hop over the glove of Frazier off Montauk's bat. He's aboard for the second time. Dickerson advances to second. So it's first and second now with 2 gone. Montauk 2 for 3 at the plate.
He's got more hits than Longoria career.
Yes, he does. And Kurt Casale, who's 2 for 2 with a double and a home run. He's up here, 2 men on, 2 men out. A ball, no strikes. Straight back off the base of the stands. The count is now 1-1. Stays wide, 2-1. Well, this has been a strange game already. Casale with a home run to lead off the 4th. Should he connect here, it would be even stranger. 8-3 right now. 2 men on. He takes that one for a strike. 2-2. Off speed offered that time by Sally. Chris Sale. And Casale takes this one for a strike. Chris Sale strikes out Casale to end the threat. 8-3 White Sox. Fans for supporting the Rays this year, and a special thanks to the season ticket holders. Hoping you've enjoyed the new Rays Rewards program and the Republic Bank Draft Room. For information on how you can become a 2017 Rays season ticket holder and the new double play season ticket opportunity, call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. 8-0 for the White Sox, 3-8-0 for the Rays. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Chase Whitley makes his fourth appearance on his way back from Tommy John surgery. Justin Morneau takes a pitch for a ball. Frazier next, and then Avila. 1-1.
Chase Whitley, yeah, he's another intriguing guy. You're looking at 2017, what he's going to be able to bring to this ball club, in what capacity.
And a base hit into center.
Let's not bring that change up. Let's bring the previous change up. That one just stayed up in the zone, and Morneau able to hammer it right back up the middle. But coming all the way back, the long road back, being able to compete again at this level, such a blessing. Now it's comes down to what can you do with that second opportunity.
Todd Frazier comes out swinging, fouling that one back. Frazier struck out looking in the third inning on a pitch in, did not like the call. 0 for 2, riding his 10-game hitting streak. Two. It's a ball, 2 strikes. It's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Pitch inside off the plate this time, and it's 3-2. Down the left field line, that's got some carry, but hooks foul. We'll see another 3-2 pitch. Reaching and pops it foul. That will be out of play. So 8 pitches to this point. Number 9 to be made by the Rays right-hander Chase Whitley. Again, a foul ball. So 6 foul balls in this at bat, an extended 3-2 count. 10th pitch about to be made. He fouls it again.
Well, the vast majority down and away by Chase Whitley, trying to get Todd Frazier to reach. Well, he's doing that. He's just getting a piece and fouling off and hoping for one mistake.
A shot down the left side. That's going to one-hop the wall. Dickerson plays the carom. Throw to second, safely in there. A double with Morneau going to third. Frazier picks up his 21st two-base hit of the year.
Well, that gets that hit streak out to 11. And it was the changeup, full count changeup. He stays on it enough. Seen a lot of pitches in that at-bat. Get a little bit more comfortable as the AB goes on. Short hop the wall and left. The White Sox just continue to apply the pressure, and thus far the Rays without an answer.
Well, the extra base hits just keep on coming. 10 hits total, 7 extra base hits. There's Alex Avila. Inside 1-0. Well, through the first 3 innings, the White Sox had scored 8 runs, and all the damage done by the top 3 and the bottom 3 in the order. And now Morneau and Frazier involved, picking up their first hits of the night here in the 5th. 2-0. And it's ball 3. Another strange thing about this game, with all of these hits and runs, the only spot in the White Sox lineup not to reach base is the cleanup hitter, Jose Abreu. He's 0 for 3. (3-0) to Avila.
And it actually makes perfect sense here tonight. Perfect sense.
Oh, ball 4. That will load the bases. Jim Hickey's going to head to the mound to talk with Whitley. It's been a tough night for Rays pitching. 3 innings, 8 runs charged to Alex Cobb. Steve Geltz had a 1-2-3 inning with a couple strikeouts. And now Whitley's in big trouble. In the 5th, bases loaded and nobody out. Breaking ball that stays up out of the zone. 1 ball, no strikes. Two and 0. Sanchez picking up his 9th double of the year in the 3rd, scoring a run. Ground ball, diving stop. Miller will come to the plate, the throw wide to the backstop. 1 run is in. Here comes another man. He will score. Morneau and Frazier both score on that play. Avila goes to third. Sanchez winds up at second.
Well, we'll have to see where this all went wrong, but the throw, I'll tell you, it almost clipped Whitley in the head. Watch Chase Whitley coming off the mound. Over that way, Brad Miller comes up to throw. Boy, he's got to duck it, and it's just wide. The throw is wide, and Kurt Casale right there from behind. Whitley now going to cover. Yeah, that's what it was. He just yanked the throw. You see the quick duck from Whitley. You think that ball's right over his head. It was just yanked wide, and that's why Casale had no shot.
Now a ground ball off the bat of Garcia, and Miller takes care of that with Avila holding at third. So on the ball hit by Sanchez, that'll be a fielder's choice and an error charged to Miller on the throw. And 2 runs come home on that. It's 10-3. Finally an out here. He's eaten the top of the order. It's popped up. Short left for Dickerson. He makes the catch, and the runners hold once more. Now 2 gone in the 5th. Tim Anderson with a single and a double. 2 runs batted in and a run scored tonight. It's a strike. Two. Well, to this point, it is turning out to be a very difficult march to the finish line for the Rays this year. Down 10-3 tonight. There's a line drive. It catches Ramirez and knocks him down as he holds on to retire the side. Hard hit line drive. Anderson to Ramirez. 2-run score. It's 10-3 Chicago.
It's 10-3 Chicago as we head to the 6th inning. Before the game, we were reflecting with Richie Schaefer about his major league debut. It happened here at U.S. Cellular Field on August 3rd of last year. And then on August 4th, he faced Chris Sale. And then after Sale left the game, it was Schaefer's first big league hit, a home run, and this was the great celebration after. The silent treatment and the air high five. Schaefer said kind of got a chance to show off his personality. Nothing was planned. And then once he gets to the boys, the celebration was on. But he reflected on his parents scrambling to get here in time for that first game, and his brother and his fiance, who's now his wife, as well as his high school buddy. So good memories for Richie Schaefer back here, guys, in Chicago, including that great celebration after his home run. Back to you.
All right, we go to the 6th inning with Alexei Ramirez leading off. He has a single and a run batted in. To pick himself up after catching the line drive by Tim Anderson to end the 5th.
Yeah, it flipped him right on the backside. That ball was a bullet, and Ramirez just reacting. I'll tell you, going back to the Richie Schaefer, the more you see it, hands down, the greatest celebration of being getting the cold shoulder coming into a dugout. He acknowledged somebody, he hugged somebody.
Ramirez to Sanchez for the out. Yeah, one of the I think one of the all-time best impromptu celebrations that we've seen.
Yeah, because you're not expecting it. Right there, I love that acknowledgement, right? His buddy, yeah, there's a hug. That is so good.
Yep. Now that's ad-libbing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's as good as it gets, no question.
Here is Schaefer. Takes a strike, has a single and a double tonight. A 1-1 count. Opens quickly and missed that one. Tough to reach out there on that corner away from him. And a cut and a miss. He's out on strikes. 2 up, 2 down in the 6th inning. Chris Sale after his 17th win of the year, and he put Schaefer away with that pitch.
Breaking ball down and in. I get the feeling that Chris Sale is starting to smell victory here, top of the 6th. You know, he likes to get deep into games. He's becoming more and more efficient. In fact, this season, pitches per inning, the most efficient that he's been in his career.
Yeah, just a tad over 15.
And for a guy that's ringing up a lot of strikeouts, that's an excellent number.
Yeah. 5th in the league with 220 strikeouts and averaging 15.1 pitches per inning.
And outside of the 2nd inning, everything in really good shape. Excellent shape.
Two and one.
Can you hear the boom mics down there grabbing the cackling in the front row?
Yeah, just a little flavor of the evening. 2 and 2 now. Kuto up here. Yeah.
Can you imagine sitting close to that?
Just trying to pick up all of the sounds of the game.
That's not sounds of the game. That's not sounds of the game. That's the sounds that'll cause you to just like. Well,
cut the miss.
There we go. Good deal.
And so a 1-2-3 inning in the 6th. Yep, out just in the nick of time. And 3 White Sox. Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, the Cleveland Indians clinching their first American League Central title since 2007, and the Cubs with 100 wins, the first 100-plus win season since 1935, when they won 154. Luke Maile in the game at first base. Richie Schaefer moves over to play third. Cabrera leading off the bottom of the sixth with an 0-2 count. It's Decker now in right field. Fly ball short left, and going out there from third, Schaefer, and what a catch. Over the shoulder, back to the infield, sliding. We've seen Richie Schaefer make some outstanding defensive plays at first, and there's a great play at third base.
Look at the angle. I mean, directly over. That's tough to track a ball like that and then to go up and reach and find it. That is an excellent catch at a very, very difficult angle. That was flawless. Almost as good as that fake celebration.
A ball and no strikes, the count to Jose Abreu. Yeah, great play right there by Schaefer. 1-1 now. One and two. Two balls, two strikes. Abreu is out on strikes. So 2 up, 2 down here in the 6th inning.
Change up again. Good finish on that pitch. Just trying to find, I think, both Alex Cobb and Chase Whitley, as they come back, trying to find consistency with their changeups, because they get enough depth on them. It's a swing and miss type pitch.
Strike to Justin Morneau. We mentioned the Cubs winning 100 games. Looking at the last time, that 1935 team. And just check the roster. Had to be one of your favorite outfielders played on that team. Tuck Steinbach. How about that? Favorite name in the game.
Tremendous name.
There's a strikeout of Morneau, ducking the throw down from Casale. 3 up, 3 down with a couple strikeouts. We go to the 7th, 10-3 White Sox. Tonight's Geico Great Moment on this day, 2005. Scott Kazmir striking out 7 Cleveland Indians in his final start of the season, setting a new Rays single-season strikeout record with 174, getting the 5-4 win. 174 strikeouts, 4th among American League pitchers in 2005. Logan Forsythe opens the 7th inning against Chris Sale. Forsythe, then Dickerson. One and one. Ground ball 3rd. This is Frazier. Second time Forsythe has been thrown out by Frazier in this game. He's 0 for 4. There's Corey Dickerson. Strike. Dickerson with a base hit. He's been hit by a pitch. Lifts it into left. Here comes Cabrera on the run to make the grab. So 2 up, 2 down in the 7th.
Tell you, after that home run by Kurt Casale to lead off the 4th inning, Chris Sale has just punched it up into another gear. Luke Maile coming to the dish.
And he's hitting in the spot vacated by Evan Longoria. Takes a strike.
I tell you, that lady's having a blast. I want to go down there and find out what's so funny.
It's been funny for a long time.
It really has. I wish they'd stop making her laugh.
A 2-strike count.
She sounds like one of my aunts. She does. And we would get together for family reunions.
Yeah.
And that cackling would start. And then the more that you looked as if it may be annoying to you, the more that they would make them cackle more. They'd cackle you right out in the backwoods for like the weekend. It happened.
This one is down, and the count is 2-2.
I'm not going to disclose my aunt's name.
No, because we'll be hearing from family members.
But there's a bunch of them, so it could be anyone.
So basically a gaggle of cackles then is what you're talking about.
Exactly
Shot to center. Garcia's back to make the catch. Bailey's out of there. 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the 7th. 10-3 White Sox. go on to the bottom of the 7th inning. The White Sox jumped out early with a 3-run first. They lead 10-3 as they come into hit in the 7th. Todd Frazier up here again. Swinging and missing. He doubled and scored a run in the 5th. He had an extended at bat in that frame against Chase Whitley, and then extended his hitting streak to 11. Doubled up the left field line. 1-1 the count. Two. So this is the beginning of the 3rd inning for Whitley. Cobb worked 3, Geltz 1. Frazier leading off, then Alex Avila. Carlos Sanchez due to bat 3rd. It's fouled. They touch for a couple unearned runs in the 5th. And a souvenir for that young man right there. Right spot, right time. Way to go.
High fives all around. That was the one thing, and we've talked about it before, but I was never able to procure a foul ball in my youth. And by the way, that's going to Old Municipal Stadium up in Cleveland, where there were no fans.
There's Frazier taking a called strike on the inside corner. One away in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, here's a guy with much more good fortune than the two of us combined. Todd Callis. Todd?
Hey, Dwayne, how are you?
Good,
Tomorrow's
but not as good as you.
Tomorrow's our final Mazda Wednesday showdown. Blake Snell will make his last start. We'll be on with our Rays Live pregame show beginning at 7:30. And then it's our final Web Wednesday of the year. So it's your last chance to ask Dwayne and BA a question until April 5th, 2017, which will be our next Web Wednesday. Although if you run into him during the offseason, you can ask him a question in person. But here's to go on tomorrow via Twitter or via email on our final Web Wednesday. Guys, back to you.
Well, you know what? And Todd, don't run off. Don't run off wherever you are. Here's the deal. I say that we open it up. You know, they always ask about, what do you think the bullpen's going to look like next year? We get it.
Yeah.
What's the lineup? Was Brad Miller really going to play first? We've heard it. We've heard it all. Let's just forget that. Let's just open it up. It's a potpourri. It's like, you know, like the, you know, on Fridays, you just kind of like.
Yeah, anything goes Friday?
Anything goes.
Yeah.
You can ask us anything. Doesn't mean we're going to answer it, but you can ask
Yeah,
it.
we can always take the 5th, which is the safe thing to do sometimes.
And sometimes that's more fun. Sometimes by not answering, you've answered.
Yes.
And so it could be really fun tomorrow. So I challenge, let's just go outside of who's going to play short next year and all that nonsense and talk about some other stuff.
There you go. The gauntlet's down for the viewers. They can ask whatever they want tomorrow.
Actually, we know who's played short next year. It's Matt Duffy.
Yeah, the big strikes here.
Todd already talked about the catchers.
Yep.
So we got the baseball end covered.
Yep. Well, if we haven't covered it by now, with a handful of games left,
we haven't done our job.
Yeah, probably won't be able to cover it the rest of the way. 2 outs, bases empty. Here's Sanchez. Checks in time, 1-0.
I just want to see what's come up with, you know, what they come up with. The fans come up with.
Yeah, it'd be fun just to hear the questions because, as you said, we don't have to answer them.
Yeah, but what do they want to know?
Yeah, that's right. So with the proviso that you may not get answers to your questions, still fire those questions in, and we can discuss those questions, give them their proper due and airing. 2-2 now. 4 strikeouts in a row by Whitley, by the way. 2 here with the bases empty in the 7th. And a ground ball this time to second, and Sanchez is retired. 3 up, 3 down. More to come. We go to the 8th. 10-3 Chicago. Well, thank you very much. On to the 8th we go. New pitcher for the White Sox is Chris Beck. On for the 23rd time. 2-2 with a 7.25 earned run average.
We look to the walks. Big reason why right there. 16 walks and just over 22 innings of work to go along with 16 strikeouts.
Well, he faces Jeff Decker. It's Beck and Decker. The matchup. Want to know the count?
It's come to that.
Mikey Matuk will be next, and then Kurt Casale. Ball outside. It's 2-1. Into left, and that ball caught Cabrera on the run. Nice running catch there to retire Decker. 1 out in the 8th.
Well, Jeff Decker, he had a big night last night and trying to soft serve one in here to left field, and Melky Cabrera says not so fast.
Mikey Matuk. Side 1-0. Back a second-round pick in the June 2012 draft by the White Sox. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Two. The White Sox have led throughout. The Rays closed the gap to 1 in the middle of the second inning, but the White Sox responded with 2 in the bottom of the second and continued to build their lead. It's now 10-3. Ground ball right over the bag, and a nice pickup and throw by Sanchez. Quickly done there. Matuk is out number 2.
Nice little nifty play by Sanchez. You're right at second base, and Chris Sale. You know, early on he looked vulnerable. Rays were getting some good swings. The velocity of the stuff was lacking the crispness. But as this game moved along, he got better and better. Started to mix in the changeup, sweeping the breaking ball to the back foot. The fastball we saw it jump up to 95 miles an hour. 3 early runs for the Rays, with Chris Sale given an early lead, would never look back once he got things rolling, in 7 strong innings once again.
Kurt Casale with a double and a homer tonight. Takes a strike. One. Two outs, bases empty. That's Dana Evelyn up in the bullpen now for the Rays. Sharply hit to third. Gloved by Frazier, who's throw to first right there. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 10-3. On Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Rookie left-hander Blake Snell after his 7th win of the year. We'll hear from him. And Orestes will break down Todd Frazier, who right now sitting 1 home run short of 40. Garcia to lead it off, and the pitch is a strike call. The number 9 hitter with a triple and a home run tonight, grounded out to first his last time. Nine in a row retired by Chase Whitley after being touched for a couple of unearned runs in the 5th. He's settled in. 8 runs charged to Cobb in 3 innings. 1 scoreless inning for Geltz and the rest to Whitley. Top of the order due next. Adam Eaton is on deck. Cut the miss. Garcia strikes out.
I'll tell you what, Chase Whitley has really acclimated himself quite well here tonight as he's continued to pitch. He's continued to get more comfortable. The pitch is sharp. Look at that changeup. Look at the finish on that. That was 2 in a row back to back to get Garcia, and he's looking out there like, what was that and where in the world did it go? That's a tough pitch right there. Almost looked like it was a 2-seam changeup.
Top of the order, Adam Eaton. There's a fastball in there for a strike to Eaton. Ground ball, first base. Maile will make the play unassisted. 2 gone in the 8th. He's dropping the first game last night to the White Sox. Trailed in the bottom of the 8th here in game 2. 2 more games left with the White Sox, and then 3 in Texas against the Rangers. Tim Anderson hits it back deep into left center. A fastball, and he hits it out. His 8th home run of the year. It's 11-3.
Mr. Twitter out there, nowhere to be seen. Right out in his general area. Now the White Sox having a big night offensively. At this pitch right there, that ball stays up and flat around the belt.
So the White Sox add a run. A 2-out solo homer in the 8th. Cabrera lines one into left, a base hit. Picks up his 2nd hit. White Sox have hit 3 home runs tonight. Leury Garcia has 1. Melky Cabrera has 1. And Tim Anderson has 1. That's going to be it for Whitley. We'll be back in just a moment. All on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory Ram. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. Bottom of the 8th inning, Dana Evelyn is pitcher number 4 for the Rays. He will inherit a runner at first. 2 outs, a run home in the inning. And he faces Jose Abreu. Pitch is down, 1-0. Every spot in the order has been on base for the White Sox except Abreu. He is 0 for 4 and ahead in the count this time, 2-0. In fact, every spot in the order has scored at least 1 run for the White Sox except the cleanup spot. 3-0 now.
Well, they got things started early. I mean, Adam Eaton started it off with a double on the first pitch, a base hit, a home run.
Yeah, the top three hitters are 7 of 15 for the White Sox, and Abreu turning it loose, 3-0, fouls it. They're 7 of 15 with 5 runs scored and 6 runs batted in the top 3 spots of the order. Be lifted foul out of play, and the count is full. Tapper foul. So back to first goes Cabrera. Two. And a chopper foul right back over the dugout, third base side. So he'll do another 3-2 pitch. And there's ball 4. So that ensures that every spot in the Chicago lineup has reached base tonight as Evelyn walks Abreu, pushing Cabrera up to second.
That was close. Close pitch and a long extended battle doesn't go Evelyn's way, and
Jason Coates pinch hits for Justin Morneau. Ball, no strikes. Coates was at Charlotte for most of the year, hit .330 there with 10 home runs. Chops it toward the middle and through into center. Cabrera's going to score. Abreu stops at second, and Coates comes up with an RBI single, hitting in the place of Morneau.
And I wonder if that ball wasn't helped into center field by Dana Evelyn. Watch it go right off his glove as he reaches up, boom, gives it a little bit more, and it's able to sneak out into center field. Another run for the White Sox.
Well, there's Todd Frazier. Strike one. Two. Frazier doubled and scored back in the 5th inning. It's 1-2. Hit. Abreu will score ahead of the throw. Coates goes to third. A walk and 2 hits given up by Evelyn, leading to another run. It's 13-3. So the Rays down by double digits here in the bottom of the 8th. Alex Avila becomes the 8th Chicago hitter to come to the plate in the 8th. The pitch is a strike. Avila 0 for 2 with 2 walks and a run scored. 8 runs charged to Cobb, 4 to Whitley, 2 earned, and now a run to Evelyn. One and one. Ball, 2 strikes. Two and two. The White Sox have hit in 16 innings in this series. They've scored in 10 of those 16 innings. With their 7-1 win last night and a 13-3 lead tonight. Two up the left field side. That's going to be a foul ball. Dickerson hustling over there, but out of his reach, and fortunately for the Rays, just foul. Two and another foul ball.
This last out becoming very difficult for the Rays here to get.
5 men have reached. 3 have scored. 2 men on at a full count. that will not die.
Now the looks on the faces of the Rays coaching staff say it all.
And that's ball 4. So a walk, single, single, and a walk. Bases loaded for Carlos Sanchez. The 30 pitch, 8th inning here. Carlos Sanchez, who ended the 7th inning with a ground ball, bats again here in the 8th, the 9th man to come to the plate. Evelyn's pitch is outside, 1-0. Popped up right side. Caught out there by Curacudo to retire the side. 9 men come to the plate. We go to the 9th, 13-3 Chicago. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By Kubota. For more information, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. From Chicago, we go to the 9th inning in what has turned out to be a rout, 13-3. J.B. Shuck in the game now in left. Matt Albers is pitcher number 3 for the White Sox. Chris Sale worked the front 7. Beck pitched a perfect 8th, and now here's Albers. Albers last worked a week ago in Philadelphia. 1 scoreless inning, and he gave up a hit. First pitch to Alexi Ramirez is a ball, 1-0.
That's what Albers will do to you. Not a big strikeout guy, but a very, very heavy sinker.
Chopped into the stands. 1-2. T. Schaefer on deck. Curacudo due to hit third in the inning. Albers just missing 2-2. It's been a rough go for Albers recently. Last 12 games, he's given up 19 hits and 13 runs in 11 2/3 innings.
Well, you're going to be able to put the ball in play against him. I mean, he'll get the strikeout here or there occasionally, but there's going to be contact. And when he's got the sinker working, a lot of ground balls, the infielders stay busy. But boy, you start to find some holes and he starts to elevate. Things can get interesting.
Well, the count is full. Richie Schaefer waiting on deck. The foul ball lookout. Coming into the stands and back out. Ramirez singled in 2 of the 3 runs for the Rays. The other one came on the Kurt Casale home run. Ground ball, shortstop, and just beneath the glove of Anderson as he went to scoop it. And Ramirez is aboard. 14th error of the year charged to Anderson.
That looked pretty routine, but as he's moving forward and that ball's closing the distance, you see right here, it comes in just a scoop and go, and came up with that glove a little bit too soon.
Schaefer 2 out of 3. Tapper foul. Ramirez was headed to second. They weren't paying much attention to him.
Nobody's holding him on. Abreu's nowhere near him.
No profanity.
And there's a shot up the left field line, back into the corner. Ramirez heads to third. They'll stop him there. And Schaefer has a double. 3 for 4 for Richie Schaefer tonight.
You're going to come in with that sinker, and Richie, boom. I mean, just hammers that thing. Todd Frazier couldn't even get out of his stance. And more trouble for Matt Albers. Obviously should have had an out on that first ground ball. That ball hit hard.
Well, here's Corricudo. 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts in this game, and he shoots one left center field. That's going to be in there. One hop into the wall. Ramirez has scored. Schaefer will score. Corricudo heads to third. He's in there standing up with his first big league hit. And the Rays get 2 runs out of that to make it 13-5. Uriel Corricudo picking up a 3-base hit on the first pitch from Matt Albers.
Well, and he got it in style. He got a sinker that stayed up in the zone, and boy, he rockets this thing out to left center field. Off the bat, you knew nobody was getting to it. And not only does he get that first big league hit, but drives in a couple on top of it.
Logan Forsythe check swing and a hopper back to the mound. Albers with the throw to first, and Forsythe is retired here in the 9th. First out. Corey Dickerson. Dickerson with a single, and he's been hit by a pitch. Cut and a miss, strike one. Popping away, but not far enough for a run to score. 1-1 now. Let's check in with Todd Callis quickly. Todd?
Guys, you guys challenged the fans, and they're starting to respond. Now, we're going to have more questions tomorrow, of course, but here are some of the early entries. We have New York-style pizza versus deep dish in Chicago. One viewer wants to know if he should pick up Terrell Pryor for his fantasy football team. That's directed towards BA. Ground ball right side, by the way, guys. And
Albert's over to cover. Out the call there. That was close. The Rays get a run. Dickerson hustling down there. And Dickerson going to stay put there for a while.
He's not listening, and I'll tell you what, naked eye, it looked like he got there. I thought that Albers was going to have to catch the ball and then put the tag on Dickerson. The race, I thought Dickerson would win. Let's see. He's closing quicker. Whoa, yeah. Take a look at that. It certainly looked like. Yeah, Dickerson wins.
So the Rays challenge it.
Yeah, so getting back to the Terrell Pryor thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're starting the third round draft pick, Cody Kessler in Miami. And the Browns are going to get creative, right? So Terrell Pryor has 21 yards rushing and a touchdown. He's 3 out of 5 as a quarterback for 35 yards. And then as a wide receiver, and really the only option outside of Gary Barnidge, catches 8 passes for $144. I'd say probably run and pick him up. I'll give that answer tonight so you can get right on it.
Just a preview. Well, the Rays are going to prevail here. So they've overturned it. So the Rays have put up 3, 1 out here in the 9th inning, with Dickerson picking up his 2nd hit of the night. Here's Luke Maile. He had an at bat in the 7th inning after he took over at first. The runner goes. The pitch is a ball, and up to second goes Dickerson.
Well, just to pay that all off.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it didn't matter because they missed 3 field goals and they lost. So.
guys, there's other topics too, and Dickerson interrupted me there. They also want to see.
Don't let the baseball game get in the way of our topics.
Exactly. Tomorrow's our final Web Wednesday, in case people are just tuning in, not sure what we're talking about. Web Wednesday, final chance to ask Dwayne and BA a question. Viewers want to see what you guys would look like if you switched hairstyles. There may or may not be a picture still around with that. And finally, there's a viewer who has a suggestion, BA, if you have a long trip and you work out, how to save that aroma from keeping the rest of the suitcase contained.
Oh, you know what? I'm all for that one. But I would say, going back to what you said just a second ago, if anybody's tuning in right now, they have no idea what's going on, and no one can understand them anyway.
Pitch is down. 2-2. So apparently we have a big night planned tomorrow.
Anything to get us through, because this is, I mean,
yeah, this has not been what one would hope for.
This is closer to cricket than Major League Baseball.
2-2 here on Maile. And a cut and a miss. So he's out on strikes. Ever go to a cricket match?
No, I have not.
No. Have you? They go on forever and ever. You know, they can last for days.
Oh, then this is.
Yeah, this is sort of like a cricket
Feels
match.
like it.
I've gone to a practice or two, but I couldn't sign on for a whole match. Just too much time.
They really go that long.
They can, yeah, absolutely.
Wow. I've learned a lot from you on this trip. You told me about that town in Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Last night on the bus.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to doze off, but that woke me up because that's a great story. We may have to tell that one tomorrow because that's an interesting story.
Oh, well.
Or you could tell it
jot
now.
it down. Well, hey, we only, we got an out to go.
Well, if you start it, you know that.
So you've already promoted.
Yeah, we'll tell it tomorrow because that story is kind of wacky in a very interesting sort of way.
2-0 the count now to Jeff Decker. Two and one. Ground ball roll to the right side. Sanchez with a toss to first, and that will end this game. White Sox win the second game of this series. It's a 13-6 final after winning the first game last night. For Chicago, 13 runs, 14 hits, an error, 7 left for the Rays, 6-11-1. And the Rays will leave 7. Sale will get the win. Chris Sale matches his total of 2012 with 17. He's 17-9. Alex Cobb, the loser, 1-2. And Chicago takes the first 2 games of this series. Rays and the White Sox again tomorrow night. It will be Blake Snell against Miguel Gonzalez, and we'll be with you on Fox Sports Sun at 7:30. Brian Anderson, Todd Callis, and the rest of our crew. Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast and not the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers, comes your way next.